This video is brought to you by GoFiber Hair Building Fibers. Pick up your free sample and get instant hair confidence. Start your transformation today. All right, everybody, welcome to this short, quick talk with Conor Murphy from Natty Plus Protocol right here in Pattaya. We thought it's going to be a good time to catch up and talk a little bit about Conor's hair loss protocol, his testo boosting supplements he has started using. I posted it on YouTube in the community section. You guys have some questions on Conor because, of course, he's known for a long time in the fitness industry. So the first thing that comes to my mind is using creatine for muscle building and how it affects hair loss. Have you used it? Do you still use it?
Yeah, I do use creatine. The cool thing about creatine, a lot of people take 5 grams every day, but once it's fully saturated in the system, you're getting all the benefits of it. So I actually just take like a mega dose, 20, 30 grams just every week, every 5 days, or just whenever I think about it, keep it fully saturated in the muscle because it does it, it of course enhances the mitochondria function in the cell, giving you more power to lift in the gym, but it also seems to boost cognitive function.
Any effects on hair loss negatively?
I mean, I don't think that I've noticed any. Potentially, creatine could boost testosterone to a degree, I suppose. Although, a lot of the time, I'm sure when people start taking creatine, they're also going to the gym and they're increasing their testosterone through other means. And potentially, any time that something boosts testosterone, of course, it has the potential to increase DHT because, of course, testosterone, a proportion of it is converted to DHT. I mean, normally the effect on hair loss is going to be so marginal. I don't think most people would notice any. So I don't think that it's something that you should worry about.
Yeah, my thesis is like if you have 2 twins and one is like the guy who never works out, never takes any creatine, and the other guy goes to the gym, works out, he will probably, and they have the same genetic predisposition for balding, like eventually this guy who works out, takes creatine, he will go bald a bit faster than the other guy probably. Yeah. Have you used any devices or systems that you are still using or believe in? I know you tried the laser helmets, scalp massages. Are these things still something that you have in your regimen?
Oh, we didn't talk about that. So I don't use the laser treatments anymore, although I used to. And I would say I believe in it to an extent. I mean, I believe in most of these regimens to an extent. It's just the question is, how efficacious are they? Like, what impact do they actually have? Is it marginal or is it significant? And it's tough to say with the laser treatments. I believe it probably worked to an extent, but did I notice any super significant results? Probably not. I actually am a fan of the scalp massages. So I used to do it, 10 minutes every day, but then I thought, okay, that's probably not really worth it. Like, that's actually a lot of work. Yeah. But what is worth it is every time that I apply my topical solution, I do massage my scalp for maybe 30 seconds. I give 50 scalp massages to increase the blood flow. And you can visually see that my scalp actually gets red. You can visually see the blood rushing to the skin. And so I believe that something like that, I mean, I don't really know if it helps or not, but I might as well.
It doesn't help much.
You don't think it helps at all? Yeah.
No, I think you try microneedling every day and there will be so much blood, let's make it very, very tough. And the blood flow will be extreme, you will not grow any hair on the...
Interesting, okay. If anything, I mean, the scalp massages, at least
relaxing.
It rubs, and it rubs the topical solution into the scalp, so can't really hurt. But yeah, again, it's I'm hoping, okay, maybe I do all these regimens that have a marginal effect and then they add up. And
I mean, if you have time to do them, for sure, yeah. I mean, there is a special technique to it. You really need to if you have you really need to do this with your scalp, and then press it like that, and really.
Oh yeah, well, okay. So do you believe in any validity in the scalp tightening theory? So there's a theory that hair loss is partly predicated over the scalp tightening over time, which restricts the blood flow. And of course, the scalp massages in that way, loosening the skin, could potentially mitigate that.
Even if the scalp is tightening, and maybe it is, I don't think that the effect of this on blood flow is thing that we should be worried about, because again, the blood flow, even if it's super tight, you can again roll the shit out of your,
you can see the blood come to the scalp.
Blood comes immediately. It's never something that I was exploring, and I don't advise it to my clients or watchers, because there are other treatments, many of which you are having here, that I think are much better use of time and more efficient, and in the long run just more practical. About about your hair transplant. So I remember reacting to one of your videos once, and it was after your hair transplant, and you decided to shave your head. I think it was like 4 months after the surgery, and then I noticed a linear scar, and I was like, did this guy do like FUT before? Was it like a strip surgery, or what happened there?
Yeah, the first surgery I did was FUT. I did them both with the same doctor. So
Okay.
that was a couple years prior, and I believe that that one had much more significant results. The second one, I just didn't really notice that much of a difference, unfortunately, you know? And so I don't remember the exact number of grafts. I just remember that they cost about the same, but the second one was more expensive, right? The FUE is more expensive, right? So fewer grafts, far less significant results. And so, yeah.
But the first one, I think the second one was 2,000 grafts, and the first one, I have no idea. Probably 2,002.
I think it had to have been
something like 15.
more. Well, maybe not. Yeah, I'm actually
this
not.
guy wasn't so long, right? It's not super, like, not spreading.
Yeah.
Maybe 2,000.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I'm not sure the exact
Yeah,
number
you
of grafts,
don't
but that would be, I mean, it actually might have been a similar amount of grafts. I just
think
remember
so.
the first hair transplant gave me far more significant results than the second one. And I'm not sure exactly why that was. I believe the first one, the doctor himself actually did it. The second one, the nurses did it, you know? And so I don't know if that had an effect, if the precision and the skill while doing the hair transplant has a super
Yeah,
significant
I think
effect.
some doctors in the US, the older ones, like Dr. Arocha, was it?
Yeah, Dr.
Yeah, I
Roach.
think he's the type of guy who is better maybe with FUT, who started doing FUE later.
Yeah.
And many doctors in the US like that are like that. They started with the FUT. They are good at that, and then with FUE they started a bit later. That's why if guys want to do FUE, I usually recommend Europe. For some guys even Turkey who are on the budget, because they just do just FUE. They started with FUE. They are only specialized on FUE. So that's the reason. Yeah. But I mean, you still can do another one if you really need. So it seems like your donor zone, it's still quite good. I mean,
yeah, I could do another one. I mean, I've been considering it. I'm not super attached to the hair personally, just from like a business aspect. I think that kind of the standard aesthetic archetype is kind of the best from a business perspective. It's kind of the aspirational look that people want. But personally, I shaved my hair in the past just to kind of gain that confidence. Like, can I be content with being bald? And that actually has taken a lot of pressure off. And so it's really reduced my stress and made me feel a lot better. So maybe depending on my business endeavors, maybe I will shave my hair, or maybe I will get another hair transplant. I'm not sure. But for right now, I seem to have the hair loss fairly under control. So not something I'm too worried about right now. If you shave your hair, there might be some advantages. You might lose some benefits, but they're trade-offs.
Yeah. But interesting that you have done it. Yeah. Would you ever do it again?
Oh, shave it? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, maybe that's the thing. If I wasn't in the fitness world doing some sort of business endeavors where I wanted to establish this particular archetype so people were attracted to my content, I at least wouldn't care as much. I might let the hair go, and then as it naturally goes, eventually, I'd shave it. Yeah. So I actually liked how I looked when I was bald. I was quite surprised. So I'll keep it for as long as possible, but I'm not too attached to it.
To the treatments, like many people already probably can see, some we have minoxidil, we have RU powder, and we have some testo boosting supplements. We have rosemary and peppermint oil. So and you have used finasteride too in the past. You have used topical dutasteride. So what were the 2-3 game changer treatments that you have used, you think, so far that really make the difference with your hair, including the scalp massages and what we have already discussed?
Yeah, certainly. Originally, when did I start? 4 or 5 years ago on minoxidil, for sure. That made a significant impact. I would say recently the RU58841 is probably the biggest game changer. So topically applied to my scalp, 5% solution every day. I make the solution myself. I take this bottle, 5 grams, put it in the minoxidil along with everything else. And like we were talking about, at the same time, I put dutasteride in here as well. But probably the dutasteride isn't really the cause of the hair maintenance, right? It's probably the RU58841 because of the dutasteride's molecular size. So I believe, the RU is probably the biggest game changer that I've experienced recently, and maybe maybe, you know, throughout all of my hair regrowth attempt history. Yeah.
RU, I have good experience with, you know, based on, you know, what I've seen with my clients. I used RU myself. When I used it as a powder, I had good, you know, results, no side effects. But once I bought a pre-made solution from Actifolic. It's a European-based company. It was a pre-made. It smelled very alcoholic, like very chemical, and it had the alcohol and propylene glycol, and I got side effects after using it for the second, third time. Usually you may not get first time, but second, third time. That's why I also advise, if you use RU, rather use small concentration at first, then, you know, go to 5%, because you may get some side effects, and I got some very scary ones. Like, I woke up in the middle of the night and I had some weird issue, like here it felt like ice cold in this area, and I was like, man, can I breathe or I cannot breathe? Like, it was super like a mini panic attack, and I couldn't fall asleep until the morning, you know, 6 a.m. and then it was very freaky. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, it's wild.
So yeah, be cautious with that. Like, and then, of course, the finasteride we discussed with you. So we had the side effects. You used the 1 milligram or microdosed it?
Yeah, I forgot the dosage of finasteride.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, there was actually another time where I actually did take topical finasteride. So there was a point, it was actually really frustrating because apparently I got access to this revolutionary, like, new topical finasteride. At the time, it was relatively new, like no one was using it. Finasteride, minoxidil, retinic acid, I believe, as well. And I just wasn't really experiencing any results. I mean, it may have maintained my hair, but there was something about the solution itself that it just dried my hair out. It made it look terrible. It made it look much worse, right? And so I ended up quitting that, and I was so frustrated with, like, the pharmaceuticals that I went all natural, and I just went overboard on, like, every topical and oral, like, DHT natural blocker you can imagine. Yeah, the scalp massages, the helmet, et cetera, microneedling every day, like, severely, you know. And actually, I was able to, like, I mean, the hair looked better, probably because I stopped using the solution that made it look so thin. But it did look better, and I was able to maintain the hair just the same. And so, yeah, I don't know, you know, but now, I mean, this is definitely the best protocol that I've ever used, for sure. So
yeah, so if we would, like, dial it down into, like, 2-3 most important ones, so I would say for sure the RU 58841, minoxidil,
for sure.
and then probably to topical dutasteride, that you have KX 826.
No, I haven't. I tried the Pyrilutamide.
Yeah.
Oh, same thing?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I did. I mean, it's just tough to say. We can talk about it if you want, but I don't know if I noticed any effects because I grouped it in with everything else. And then I did some research. I saw some relatively recent research that seemed to indicate that the RU was more effective and that the Pyrilutamide wasn't as good as everyone thought it was.
Yeah, I think they shouldn't increase the Pyrilutamide concentration. I think that concentration would need to be like around 1% or maybe even 1.5%.
Oh,
because
really?
if you look at the binding affinity of the Pyrilutamide, it's 4 times stronger than RU. But if you think about it, like 5% RU and 0.5% Pyrilutamide, it's 10 times less. But the binding affinity is 4 times stronger. So to make it like even, you would need to increase the 0.5% of Pyrilutamide onto 1.3-ish. So I think that, you know, that's my thesis. But I think that's why maybe it didn't work as good in that. But right now what they want to do, they want to mix minoxidil with Pyrilutamide in one group. The other group will have just minoxidil, either just Pyrilutamide and placebo, and they will compare again, you know, whether it makes sense even to pursue this research. Even if it doesn't work on itself, maybe with minoxidil it will kind of have a better synergistic effect. And maybe that's what they want to do, but it's going to take some time. And then you have also the CB0301, but this one, it has even weaker binding affinity. So they tested like 7.5% twice a day even, and they had like pretty good results with it for like 6 months. But after 6 months, some results started to fade. So it was like
gave some boost, but then, tapered off a little bit. But then they stopped recruiting people for the new trial and it was before COVID. So these are like on hold, or I don't know. These are like 3 and topical anti-androgens that you can like buy, even the CB, but it's very expensive. And that's why many people are not trying it, to make 7.5% CB or even 10% would be maybe better.
Yeah.
It's super expensive. Like RU is like the probably cheapest, quite effective, but it's also like a Russian roulette. Some guys get like, wow, it works. Some guys like, doesn't work at all. It's also like very, very dependent on like how you respond to it, really. It's interesting. And I think one thing that will also play a role is like how healthy your scalp microbiome is, really. Like it's like your gut microbiome. Like your scalp has also a microbiome where you may have like overpopulation of some bad bacteria. And this hinders the absorption of so many topicals. That's why most doctors say like, guys, orals are stronger, they will work by more people, response rates are higher, simply because right now people with bad diet, having a lot of sebum overproduction, malassezia, which is like a yeast that over spreads on the scalp. If you use like bad cosmetic products, or like you have a bad hair wash routine, you have bad diet, and then the scalp is not ready to kind of absorb the treatments like minoxidil and topicals. So you are just putting something on top, and that's why the topical dutasteride will be problematic for those types of people unless you microneedle, because you're not gonna get it on the scalp.
Yeah, that's another thing that I did during my whole completely natural phase. I was using topical probiotics, which I contributed some of the results to. I mean, hopefully it helped with absorption. I mean, maybe marginal effects, but ideally you would optimize your scalp microbiome just like your gut microbiome.
Yeah, I think you need to optimize the scalp microbiome from within, pretty much. That's where I would agree, like, to treat it from within, and it's gonna have the best effects, because then your skin will get healthier. No pimples. The same on the scalp. So kimchi, sauerkraut. What do we have? Kombucha. The stuff that you can eat that rebuild your microbiome that I like, or the pickles and stuff like that. I like to include in the diet to have that. I don't believe in the probiotic oral supplements as much.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, okay, you take some probiotic pills, but the actual microflora in your gut are going to overpower them. You know what I mean? So it's like you just need to nourish the microflora that you already have. So I think prebiotics are actually more important,
Yeah.
So,
Plus, you don't know, like, the different foods that carry those probiotics, like, they have different, like, release and in that gut. Like, the tablet, the pills, they may get swallowed in the gut so quickly that they won't even exert those functions there. And if you eat those, foods, like real foods, like, they will get stuck there for a while. So the gut can rebuild itself.
Well, and that's optimal. So it's like kimchi, you have probiotics, but then prebiotics as well. It's like the bacteria is feeding on that cabbage, you know what I mean? And so you're giving that bacteria food so it can actually like grow in your system,
Totally.
So far superior, I think, than pills.
Yeah, and then maybe last questions. Are you going back to the shirtless pranks and Omegle pranks?
No, I think I've kind of outgrown that. I think that kind of had it's a life expectancy, People get desensitized to the same type of content over and over again.
Yeah.
And so, no, I want to concentrate on more educational type content. That's what the Natty Plus protocol is all about. It's kind of breaking the dichotomy between natural and not, talking about these gray area supplements that make you really question if naturalness should be considered a dichotomy or more of a spectrum. And so I talk about the different supplements on there. And some of them, they help mitigate hair loss,
But it's a new channel, right? How many subscribers you have?
Yeah, so TikTok, 30K or something like that. Instagram, 20K. YouTube, just 4K or something like that. So, trying to grow the
We'll
YouTube.
link you down in the description so you can follow Connor's channel. Awesome. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching.
Okay, peace.